Eric, I want you to know.
That
Pardon?
was pretty good open. That was I like the last
Well,
part there too.
well, you need to understand something. That conversation. Can you guess what day and time that conversation was had?
I no, I
Would you
couldn't.
assume after the trade?
Uh,
Especially with what I said. Would you assume that was said after the trade?
unless you have some insider sources. Yeah,
That was at 11:35 that day.
really.
Yeah. That's how I felt about you at 11:35 on Wednesday.
You were on. You were on that day. There you go.
I knew it. I knew nothing either. And I need to tell you one more thing. I don't know if you remember, I lined up beside you once. Do you even know who I am?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought,
I mean that with all sincerity. Do you have any idea who I am? I had no part of that series in 0506, Eric.
I just saw the intro. I know exactly who you are. I kind of skate on the opposite side of the ice from guys like you out there.
Well, I appreciate you giving me that acknowledgement. I want to just say this. I had the pleasure of lining up beside you once. You got kicked out of a face-off circle. Your right winger went in, and you came to the right wing. I have no idea why I was on the ice against you. I don't. I don't know what happened. That's just the honest truth. I'm not even trying to be funny. I can't tell you the scenario of how it's not like Lindy's like, oh, Stahl's out there. Get Peters out there. So you line up beside me. And it's like an awkward silence. The ref's getting reset, and you're standing there, and I'm standing next to you, and I'm just thinking, and it's my second year in the league. I've played less than 100 games. You're still young but dominating. And I turned to you, and just as we leaned over, I looked over at you, and I said, what nobody would have expected me to say. I said, your parents should have had more kids.
I feel like I remember this. I thought you said something about my brothers. I think that I vaguely kind of remember you.
I certainly wasn't going to say I'm going to kick your ass this shift.
You want to go? Yeah.
Anyway, man. That was my moment with Eric Staal. That's the only time we ever touched ice together other than warm up. And I wanted to. So when you got traded here, I was like, I got to tell him this story, and I hope he just has some sort of recollection of it, like you did, because that's true, because I've told so many people that story. Anyway, welcome to Buffalo, by the way.
Thank you.
And you'll get to know Duffer. He's on the show. You'll get to know Duffer very well. Craig, we're questioning how much you'll say today. But what I want to know from you is number one, how are you feeling about it? And number two, what happened? What happened? I read you raced home. That's the dramatics in the story, okay? You raced home. You were golfing with your teammates. You raced home to submit your list. Buffalo was not on it.
That's not what happened. But
okay, if
that's what someone wants to say to make it a little bit more dramatic, that's fine with me. But I was golfing the day before, but I know you need to submit a list, and pretty sure I did it last year, and I just had getting the email saying you got to submit this list by a time, and I just texted my agent. I said, just send the same one we had last year. That was pretty much it. I didn't really give it any thought, and that was that. But I didn't race home to get in.
Well, no, that was not that.
No, it wasn't. That's a little bit more dramatic, which is fine for people to say, but
So what happened after you submit the list? How do you become a Buffalo Sabre in the coming hours?
I was at my house sitting here, and I actually walked out front, and my phone started to ring, and it was Bill Guerin, and I answered it, and he said, I traded you to Buffalo, and that was it. And I was like, what? And he said, I traded you to Buffalo, and I was like, oh. And then and that was and I said, okay, and that was it. Really, I hadn't I really had no idea at all. Caught me completely off guard just with how it ended. I mean, this year's a complete, everything's different and weird for in more ways than one. So it's just kind of another wrinkle to our life and my family, and we're dealing with it. It's been a whirlwind couple days, but we're excited as well.
That voice is Eric Staal. Go ahead, Craig.
Welcome to Buffalo, first and foremost. You heard our open with Petey, and I'm not kidding you. You're not the first time your name has come up on our show. We've always needed that second line center, and your name has come up a lot. It's kind of like beating a dead horse, but it's amazing.
Not anymore. You beat it enough, and it will.
And it comes alive, Petey. Hey,
we got some other trade ideas too, Stalsy. I'm going to call you Stalsy too, by the way. Is that what you're saying?
Now that we're good buddies, right? You get traded here. Have you had any opportunity to talk to Kevin Adams and just kind of see like what he has, his thoughts were and
yeah, I mean, I honestly talked to him briefly. I talked to him briefly that day, and then we chatted a little bit more the next day, which was yesterday. But I haven't talked to him in depth. I mean, with everything, I'm just kind of wrapping my head around everything. A lot of moving parts. I got 3 boys, my wife here, and we're just kind of figuring out, everything. This season coming up, like when are we starting? What's the plan? What are we going to do? So that we have so many things that we're thinking about that I've talked to Kevin briefly. I mean, I know him very well. He was very good to me as a young player coming in Carolina, and he's a great person. There's so many great qualities that he has, and I'm not surprised. He's gotten to where he is, and he'll do a phenomenal job. He's just that type of character. So I had brief talk with him, which was comfortable and I was very happy about. But we'll I'm sure talk more as the days go on here.
Can you give us, Eric, just a little more insight as to the reaction of your boys and your wife, and just how you're all trying to talk through this and process this? I mean, yeah. I think we all, we understand the business, but sometimes the briefness, like how articulate you were just talking about how almost cold the trade call is, right? Like you get the call and it's over and it's like, now what? I think you really put it into perspective, just how this can all shock the system. So I'm curious to know what has happened since with your wife and kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, sometimes in this business, you can kind of see it from a distance, but when you're actually experiencing it firsthand, it's definitely a little bit more unique. I've been around a long time, played a lot of games, and they don't need to give you a heads up or let you know that it's a possibility. But sometimes with families and kids, it would make things a little bit easier, but it didn't go that way, and which is fine. They didn't need to do that, and I'll prepare properly as time goes on. Everyone was a little bit shocked just because, our life's been here for the last 4 years, and we've really integrated well. My kids have, are all started hockey in schools, and so they were a little bit upset. My middle guy was I'm not moving schools. That was the first thing he said. So we'll have to sort that out as we move forward. But obviously with the season not even beginning, when it does begin, we don't know, and we'll just keep them where they are right now, and then we'll kind of figure things out. But they've lightened up to the idea. They'll be excited, and we'll get them some Sabres shirts, and they'll be pumped up.
How old are your boys? What are the birth years?
Greg's thinking of minor hockey here. It's
100%. Please.
My oldest is a 2009. My middle guy is 2011, and my youngest is a 2014.
Are they hockey players?
Yeah, they all play. Yeah.
Yeah.
They enjoy it. They're not little Sidney Crosby's wizards out there, but they play. They enjoy it. They're having fun, and that's honestly, to me, that's what matters. I'm not. I'm like my dad. My dad let us play and enjoy it, but he was never like that crazy dad making you run home if you had a crappy game. He was quiet and let us love the game and have that passion. And honestly, that's to me what matters most about this game is if you have that passion and love. Because if you don't, I don't care how good you are, you ain't gonna last very long.
Well, very well said. I'm a father myself. Very well said. But I'm more. Why did you say Sidney Crosby?
I
mean,
well, I mean, I think
it's like I could say to my kid, like, you know, you're never going to be Eric Staal, and everyone would be like, well, that's pretty unbelievable. So why did you say Sidney Crosby? It sounds to me, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is he the greatest player ever?
I mean, I came in kind of with Sid, and I know him personally, so I like his character, and I like the type of professional he's been over his career, and you can't really argue too much. Over his time in the league, he is by far, I think, the best player.
Why do we never hear anything about him? Why do we never hear anything about you? Why are you guys mystery? Is that by design?
You're talking about me pretty good there, but I don't know. My game's a little underrated there, PD. I'm okay with that. That's
no.
How
what I mean is like your privacy, like your pride. That's what I mean. I meant why don't we hear? But we don't hear about Sidney Crosby's personal life. We don't hear about privacy, and we don't hear things about you. That's what I meant.
Oh, I don't have social media.
Clarify. I would not. I would not want that kind of a mistake.
I don't know.
You said no social media.
No, I don't have any social media. If that's I'm not a big Instagram scroller, so I don't.
Did you ever have it at any point?
I've never had Instagram, and I've actually got chirped many times about how do you not have this? Why are you not following? And my wife has it, and I'm like, you know what? If something relevant comes on there that you think is important to have me see, then show me. And other than that, I really don't care. I don't really.
Well, there you go, Petey. That's the answer to the key to success in life. Eric has chosen no social media, and look at him. He's still going strong. Way to go, Eric. I was
told to get Twitter once, and my life has gone downhill since. So that just.
Well, I mean, it's always different for everybody, and obviously the industries you're in and whatnot. But for me and what I do, it's not relevant, and I don't need it. So.
Joining us right now, Eric Staal, newest Buffalo Sabre, traded here the other day. Lots to learn about you, and you won a cup against Buffalo, or well, you didn't win a cup against Buffalo, but you had to get past Buffalo in that series in 05-06. I mean, does take me back to that year? I mean, we're talking to everybody here in Buffalo. Actually, probably a lot of the hockey world is listening because you are a big name, and they want to hear what you have to say. And this is the first time you've spoken since you've been traded. So, thank you for doing that, by the way. But take us back to that cup and how did that series help you guys win against Edmonton? And did it?
Yeah, I mean, but that team was phenomenal. I've talked to Popper about that actually a couple times, and that Buffalo team was one of the best in the league, as were we, and it was rightfully so. Went down to Game 7, and was so close the whole time. Obviously, Buffalo had a numerous bunch of injuries on D, so we tried to make sure we took some advantage of that. And but it was a phenomenal series. I mean, so much pace. Both teams, I think, out of that lockout, really played the game and style of play similar and the right way and obviously to win. And I believe if it wasn't us beating Buffalo to get to the finals, it would have been them winning in the finals. Nothing against Edmonton, but I just felt like those two teams were the top that year with the style of play and their pace. But
it's safe to assume you liked the puck over the glass penalty.
That didn't hurt us that year. Yeah, that was you got to put the pressure on the D. Make them make a decision.
So back.
Ouch, Brian Campbell.
Yeah, I know. I do remember.
So how old were you back when you won the Stanley Cup? You were just a young buck at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
I was third year pro. I started in 03-04. Then the lockout was 4-05, and it was 5-06. So I think it was 22 or something like that. 21. Yeah.
So you had some pretty incredible leaders at the time, guys like Rod the Bod, Brendan Moore, Mark Recchi, Corey Stillman, Doug Waite. These are guys that were phenomenal players, throughout their careers. Doug Waite, I think, and Mark Recchi came to your team at the deadline. What did you take from those guys at that time? You're 20 years old. You're a pretty special player in the National Hockey League at that time. What did you take from those guys back at that time?
Well, I think as the year went on, and first and foremost was Rod, just as how he prepared every day. I mean, he's been spoken about like crazy with the type of professional he was, his weight room antics, how he practiced. I think I really watched him closely and how he prepared every day, and learned so much through the course of that year. And we were a top team right from the get-go. And then once we added those guys at the deadline, the biggest thing as a young guy was knowing that this is hard and this is not going to come around every year. You're not going to be a 50-win team every year. We need to try to do everything in our power to win right now, especially, we had so many guys, I think, in that 32 to 36 range. And these were older guys that had played forever and never had a sniff at a Stanley Cup. So I was young, but I was smart enough to know that these guys are putting everything in, and I was going to do the same, as well as some of our other younger guys. And it takes everybody to win a Stanley Cup, as everybody knows. It's such a commitment. But I just knew, even as such a young guy, that this was legit, and there's no joking around here. We're here to win every single day, and ultimately ended up in the championship, which you remember forever.
And no, not everyone knows. Everyone who won knows. They just happen to tell us. just for clarification, we just go off what every champion says, not what we know from experience. You know what I mean? That voice is Eric Staal, newest Buffalo Sabre, traded here the other day, and listen, it's the news around the hockey world, and there's a lot of people excited about the move, and you joked about it because we misconnected on what I was saying, which is not uncommon, but you said my game is underappreciated when you misinterpreted what I had said to you. And I think, and I don't know if that's right or wrong. You've been performing at a high level even since you went to Minnesota. And I think a lot of people didn't know where you were going to go and where your game was going to go after New York. And it even took off again. Right. So at that age, and you see players still dominating at 35. And Craig said before you came on, I don't want to hear age associated with Eric Staal. How much game do you have left in the tank? How's the body feeling? I mean, because you were having a great year this year, which is why I traded for you Wednesday morning, by the way.
No, I honestly feel good. I've felt really good over the last couple of years. Kind of like you said, I reinvigorated myself with just that passion and drive coming here in Minnesota. This is a great hockey market, and I know Buffalo is the same or more. It's passionate. There's people invested in the team and love watching the Sabres, and to me, that's the best part of playing is playing in a market where there's so much passion and excitement every single day. And I feel like I got a lot of time left. I mean, it's it's obviously getting to the later stages of my career, but I can still contribute. I can still play. I can use some of that experience and savvy out on the ice, but I still have that excitement and joy in just being at the rink every day and trying to score goals and set up teammates, all that fun stuff. I still enjoy every single bit of that, and hopefully I can do it for a while yet.
So how do you impart all of that stuff that you talked about learning at a young age from those veterans in 06 in Carolina? How do you impart that on Jack, on Dylan Cousins, on so many of the other younger players that need that leadership here in Buffalo?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'll try and be myself. I mean, I don't think it's about coming anywhere and really pointing people on where to be and what to do and how to act. I think for me, it's, being yourself, carrying yourself the right way, being a pro and being a teammate. And I think, I don't know, a ton about all the guys. I mean, I've looked at the roster. There's a lot of younger players, but a lot of very, very good players, elite skill. And I think if we can build that team unity and that team type feeling right away, and just exude this confidence out of these young players, you can do a lot of good things. And for me, it's just trying to be a pro, be at the rink, and be a contributor. Fit in nice, but do what I can to just support these younger guys and have fun doing it at the same time.
But Eric, would you say that you've been a very approachable teammate? So, like, I get it. You don't want to go out of your way to do stuff, but do you feel like over time, more and more young players just naturally, because of who you are and what you've done, just come up and want to talk shop and get a little bit of advice?
No, I may be 35 on the paper, but when I get in the room, I'm more in the 23 to 25 range with these guys. Maybe not with the social media Instagram stuff, but I like to just chirp them about it. So I'll fit in just fine. I'm not worried about that. I know obviously Jeff Old Skins really well and played with him a number of years. So I used to always give him a hard time, but I'll fit in fine. I'm not one of those stuffy old guys. I'm still in there to enjoy it and hang out with the boys and throw the chirps around. It's more fun that way. And hey, we get to play a game every day, and this is not going to last forever. So you gotta enjoy that. And I'll do the same coming to Buffalo.
I know we are probably way over time with you, but it's just been so good, and I appreciate your time and your candidness. But it's not over. I still have more questions. I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind.
That's fine.
He does have to go.
I know you have to go. I know you do. I know, but I want to ask these questions because we haven't asked them yet, and shame on us. We're not Eric Stahls in our industry, okay? Have you spoken to Jack? Have you spoken to Jeff Skinner?
I've had some texts from a couple of the guys. They've reached out, just kind of welcoming me to the team. It's kind of a weird time of year with everything, man. It's just the playoff bubble still going. We don't know when the next season is going to start. So they've been a lot of people reaching out, and a lot of guys that have said nothing but positive things about the type of people and the people around in Buffalo. So that's been good. I've been trying to wrap my head around everything. I had a lot of messages, a lot of people reaching out, and just kind of taking it little by little to try and get back to everybody and sort through it all.
We have to go to break. I do have one more question though. What do you want to do after hockey?
I'm only worried about hockey. I think I'll stay away. Maybe the radio side. I don't know. We'll find out.
I would love for you to be my sidekick. Instigators, WGR 550. Eric Staal, welcome to Buffalo. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Appreciate
pleasure,
it.
And it's a pleasure that number 12 is available, and it will look amazing in that new royal blue. Hopefully, see you soon.